So there are 40 ties to be drawn. So let's make a start. Paul Ince is going to draw the home teams. David James, the away teams.
Number 79.
So we have Merstham from the Isthmian Premier in the first round for the first time.
Number 34.
They have a home tie against Oxford United, 10th in League One.
I'm not often speechless, as you know, but I have been this week. For Merstham to have beaten Ebbsfleet, first of all, who are a very, very wealthy football club with really excellent players, the likes of Deering, the likes of Kedwell, the likes of Sheringham, are all players that could play in the Football League. To be rewarded with a place in the FA Cup first round proper versus Oxford United really is something to behold. You know, 10th in League One. I remember Oxford when they were in the old First Division with John Aldridge and Ray Houghton. I remember them playing at Wembley, beating Queen's Park Rangers in the Milk Cup final. Suddenly they're playing Merstham. Incredible.
We've worked out there 94 places at the moment between yourselves and Oxford United. That's more than that was between Crawley and Manchester United when they played in 2011. So this really is the biggest FA Cup tie this area's seen for a long time.
Yeah, makes it more daunting when you put it like that. 94 places. We'll have to address that with a victory today. Like I say, it's a really exciting draw. I described to the players the Ebbsfleet game as our FA Cup final. The victory was the prize, and the prize is Oxford United. So to beat Oxford United here would be like amazing, but who knows? Who knows? This is the FA Cup. So let's see if we can't rip the rule book up again.
It is kind of like an FA Cup final for the coverage that it's going to get now on TV.
Absolutely, and the build-up that goes with it, which has already started. You know, as I said to you earlier, I've already done half a dozen interviews with BT Sports. The Sun are coming down next week with the FA Cup to do a feature on Merstham and the players. The chairman's been on Talk Sport. I think it will set the club up financially for years. I think it's a real game changer for the club. You know, Merstham is a small club. When I come to Merstham, I think I've said to you before, I got a little tired of the politics of managing big clubs. I wanted to come to a small club and build it, create a club. I saw great potential here to do it. The truth is, when I arrived, Merstham was a village club. And I don't mean that in any which way to be condescending. I think that's part of the charm of Merstham, and I think they should be proud of their history. But now Merstham are a very, very well-respected Ryman Premier Division team. They're one of the most famous teams in non-league football just at the moment. Everybody's talking about Merstham. And I think what this will do is it will take the club onto a new level. I described it before the game as this was a £100,000 fixture. It's exactly what it is. You know, the revenue that's coming into the football club is astonishing. I've no idea how the directors will choose to spend the money. I doubt they'll give me much. But I think that they will build an infrastructure to take the club forward and fight for places in the Conference South, build the ground, develop the stadium, and continue to build an infrastructure to take Merstham forward. I think it really depends on how the board decide to distribute the money. I doubt whether a great deal will go into the team. Hopefully that's a conversation that can take place in due course. But, you know, I would prefer the money to be spent on building the club. You know, I would prefer, honestly, the money to be spent on which is a lovely picturesque football stadium outside, to building stands and terraces and really turning it into a National South stadium. I think it's a great opportunity to do some work on the pitch, improve the pitch, improve the facilities for the pitch, maybe irrigation systems, this, that and the other. So there's all sorts of ideas of how you can spend the money. And the truth is, football being football as it is, it sounds a lot, but I'm sure it will soon be spent.
What do you know about Oxford? What can you expect? And will you have them watch? Will you go and watch them?
Yeah. The truth is, at the moment, I'm no great authority on Oxford. But by the time we play them, in the same way as we did with Ebbsfleet, in the same way as I always do with the big games, by the time we play Oxford, I'll know everything about them. We'll have them watched. I'll try to watch them myself, but games of that profile, I don't think you can only see them once. You need to see them 2 or 3 times to really understand them, appreciate their strengths, look at some of the areas that maybe we can exploit, and that will be important. You know, in my experience as a football manager, one thing that is important to recognise is sometimes that you play football and you understand that the team that you play against are better than you. It doesn't mean that you can't win. We showed that at Ebbsfleet. What you have to then do then as a coach is that you have to find a way to win, as we did against Ebbsfleet. And we'll be looking to do exactly the same against Oxford. The philosophy definitely won't change. There's no question of that. That will never change. Whoever we play, whoever Merstham play, whoever I've played in my career, that's in the DNA of my sides, of my teams. I think that it's more important when you play better opponents to have a clear philosophy without the ball. That's something that will change. I don't think that you can fight fire with fire. If you do, the likelihood is that you will lose. But you have to have an idea how to stop them, how to counteract what they do very well. Because one thing that I will say, it doesn't matter if we play Ebbsfleet with the great players that Ebbsfleet have, it doesn't matter if we play league opponents, Merstham will be very, very good with the ball. And that day, Merstham will be good with the ball. We'll be brave with the ball. We will show everybody, and a great opportunity for the players to show everybody our identity with the ball, and we will play to our natural strengths.
How do you prepare the players for a game like this? With the coverage that we mentioned earlier, being live on television, this is something new for a lot of us players. How do you prepare them for it? Do you have to do anything different to get their mindset in the right place?
No, I think it's easy. I think as a manager, these games are easy because I have a saying with the players. Players have to have big ears and broad shoulders. Big ears to take in the information, broad shoulders to take the criticism. The fact is, when you play Billericay today, for example, which is normally a big game, everybody has Oxford on their mind. So my job today is much more difficult in preparing for Billericay, as it was in preparing for Folkestone in the week. When you play the big games, the players are attentive, the players are motivated, the players are concentrated and focused. The games for me are easy. I promise you, I'll be the most relaxed person in the ground for Oxford. Today, I'll be more agitated. I'll be a little bit more on the players because you have to get their head in the right place, as you say. The FA Cup is great, but the FA Cup may only be one more game. Hopefully it won't be, but it may be. And I have a clear brief to the players of my expectations in the league. So today is very important. They need to understand that.
As for next week, for next weekend, obviously just a week before the cup game, do you rest anybody? Do you have that in your mind a little bit, even though you want to win in the league? You say, I need to maybe rest a couple of players to be fresh for this.
Well, we've had the cooperation of the Ryman League in being able to cancel the Needham Market fixture, which is the Tuesday before the FA Cup game. Next week is a FA Trophy game. And again, the FA Trophy game brings finance into the football club. It's a competition that we want to do well in. So I don't anticipate anybody will be rested in the FA Trophy. But definitely next Saturday, it'll be a game v Waltham Abbey. And the message to the team will be simple. Forget about Oxford, because if you don't play well v Waltham Abbey, you won't be playing against Oxford.
It's a massive day for everybody here, not just the players and the supporters, everybody that's worked at this club. Is this everybody pulling together and a big project to get this game on with a record capacity?
I think I've got the easy job, to be fair. I've got the great job, haven't I? I'm sitting here talking to you, having interviews with everybody, preparing the team, playing the game. I've got the easy stuff. The difficult stuff is off the pitch. And to prepare for this game is huge. You know, Merstham's average gate is between 150 and 200. There's going to be 2,000 people in the ground. In addition to 2,000 people, you're going to have 1,000 away supporters. So you have to think about segregation, you have to think about stewarding, you have to think about policing. Oxford have already announced that they'll be bringing a minimum of 10 coaches. You have to think about that. The guys behind the scenes are going to really have to work hard to get this right, but they will do, as they did against Ebbsfleet. The work that they put in for the Ebbsfleet game and the way that the football club prepared for the Ebbsfleet game was a real credit to them. This, of course, is even bigger. If you think in Ebbsfleet there's 600-700 people in the ground, there's going to be 2,000 people walk through those turnstiles in 2 weeks. So I should think they'll have a few sleepless nights, a few nightmares, but I've no doubt with the good people at Merstham, it will be very slick, it will be very professional, and they'll do the club proud.